So a lot of people think the Kurfürst is basically unplayable these days, with it getting the massive, huge nerfs in this last 10.0 update, and it is much harder to play now. But Deadeye still does help this ship, like it does for every other battleship. The one skill points, or the one captain point that is good on every battleship, it's Deadeye. You're almost pigeonholed into running Deadeye on every ship, which means you have to run concealment because that runs best with Deadeye, and then you're only left with one other 4-point skill. In an update where Wargaming tried to increase diversity, they made it so we only have one build really to run, which is pretty sad. But it does help this ship as well, and that's what I'm going to show you here. The Kurfürst is actually pretty accurate at long range. It feels a lot like a Montana, and a Montana that maybe has worse gun angles, but it is able to tank a little bit better, just because it has that much better deck armor and upper belt. As long as you keep it angled, the ship is quite tanky. And then, of course, the Hydro helping you push in when the time comes over something like a Montana. The secondaries are still okay. They're not amazing like I've already showed. They're not the most amazing secondaries in the world. If you want to play a secondary ship, go get a premium American battleship, because that's the only ones that I really think I'm running secondaries on these days. But Deadeye does work, and you'll notice I'm pushing with my team, and that's the only reason I'm really pushing, is my team has decided to push up here, and it seems like their goal is to take the islands in the bottom corner of the map, and that is a very strong position. If you can get there in a reasonably healthy way, that's an incredibly strong place to be, because you get to crossfire out the whole enemy team where they tend to congregate, which is along that island chain near the middle of the map. That's generally where people tend to go in this map. So getting this bottom corner is a very good idea. But you'll notice we actually don't have anybody there. So talking a little on decision making with a GK, getting on people's flanks is where you want to be. These guns are not going to overmatch much. They're basically tier 8 caliber. A lot of tier 8s have 406s, and I am running the 420mm guns here, but the 406, it overmatches the same as the 406s, so that's not really going to help you at all. So I decide to turn in, and my goal is to cut towards that main little 3-island gap on the G line, and the goal is to get crossfires on this Iowa, Stalingrad, GK kind of down here. That's what I'm looking for, is to make sure that my guys who are going down to that corner rock get some good, useful crossfire. Otherwise, they're just going to die. You can see the egg gear is basically out already, so I'm trying to make a play that keeps a lot of them alive. And I might die for this, but it does help the team win. And it gives me better efficiency out of my guns as well. That's really what you're looking for, is these kind of broadside shots. Now, I have no idea why there's an Iowa reversing broadside on, but I'll take it, In fact, I don't even shoot right away, because I'm just so confident that he's going to go forward, that even after I spend all that time aiming and deciding to shoot him, I still don't lead him quite enough, because I'm so confident that nobody sits broadside reversing like that. So I actually kind of miss. But we get a Citadel anyway. That's pretty good damage. So running GK with this build is a decent option, I think. I think it allows you the flexibility of being good at long range and good at close range. You're not going to be crazy tanky, because can't fit fire prevention in this build, can't fit the extra heal in this build. But it does allow you to have this better accuracy at long range and better efficiency at long range. So in the games where you're forced to play there, you don't feel like you're useless. And then when the game does allow you to have those, maybe 1 in 3, 1 in 4 games where you're allowed to push in using islands and that kind of thing, you're actually able to do it and have decent secondaries. So you notice I have 11 kilometer secondary range. That's not the usual 12.5 kilometers you should be getting this patch. And that's because we're taking the accuracy module. The whole thing is to get the main guns better. Secondaries are pretty useless, so even if you do run the upgrade to take 20% more range and 20% better dispersion on the secondaries, they're still really not going to hit much. They're still, yeah, they're just not that good. They're really only useful on the American secondary battleships, basically because they retain the old Kurfürst accuracy, is essentially what's happened. So if you're looking for a secondary ship, the only one I can really recommend to you is the premium American battleships, unfortunately. That's just the way the game is at this moment. But Kurfürst can work if you're looking for the more free experience. Getting into islands like this, using some concealment, and mainly the islands to get closer like this, can definitely help you use your secondaries a little bit and brawl it out. Obviously, the best part, or one of the best parts about the Kurfürst armor, is that you have really good turtleback. So you're not really ever going to get citadeled in this ship unless you're at really, really long range. So I actually feel really confident to push out here and probably take a full Yamato salvo here, but we'll dish out one in return. And this is where turtleback is very useful. These trades here, I'm totally willing to trade that, 10 to 20k HP if we're able to dev strike him in return. This is where Kurfürst is a good brawler. Giving this kind of broadside all the time is really bad because people are kind of guaranteed full pens, where other battleships would shatter, or you get more overpens because the armor is not as thick, that kind of thing. This thing basically are guaranteed full pens when it gives broadside, so you definitely want to keep it angled more often, which unfortunately means you're not using your rear guns as much, just due to the poor angles of them. Here, I did not expect the mines to do this full YOLO play, so I'm dead here. But a solid little push there, I think, using Deadeye. It does feel a lot better to play this ship with more accuracy than not. The secondaries just aren't worth putting all those points into and sacrificing all that accuracy. In hindsight, a better play here definitely would have been to sit and ram my ship into the rock or something like that after I killed the Yamato, but it didn't matter. Our push allowed us to our team to open up that entire flank, and we ended up winning. So a nice little Kurfürst game here, top score. And you'll notice I didn't really use secondaries at all. It's just main guns, and I think that's probably the way to play Kurfürst. And really most ships these days is secondaries are just useless. So Deadeye everything is basically the summation of this video. Even a Kurfürst, you should run Deadeye, and you'll probably enjoy it a lot more. I'll show you the captain build real quick, and then that'll be the video. So the way I've built up my Kurfürst right now is essentially a Deadeye build, very similar to my Ohio. Taking gun feeder, because sometimes you do have to switch to HE. AA defense, I mean, your AA is not really going to help you that much, but I don't really see as much use in these other skills. This might help save me from a strike here or there. And then I do run the range and accuracy upgrades for the secondaries to make them somewhat usable. But the main star is Deadeye concealment, giving you a reasonable 14.3 kilometer concealment and then good accuracy out to 20.6 kilometers. You'll notice I'm running a spotter plane to give me the extra range. That's part of the reason I took AA on the captain as well. And then we're going to run reload. You could argue that range is better in this patch, but I'm running reload. I'm running concealment and damage control system. You'll notice I'm running aiming systems mod 1, and that's because I find that if I'm within the 12.5 kilometer range of the full secondary build, I'm probably within range of the 11 kilometer secondary build. So I would rather have the more accuracy on the main guns right now, just with the way the meta is going. You could see the salvos were reasonably accurate. Damage control system mod 1, pretty standard. And then auxiliary armaments to keep the AA and secondaries alive. Honestly, with the guns, you could choose either. If you want better reload, go the 406s. If you want the cool gun sounds and the bit of extra alpha, you can run the big guns. It's totally up to you. And then I should note the final point I would put into the captain once I get a 21 point commander would probably be Adrenaline Rush. It's possible basic survivability, is something I want to look at, but probably Adrenaline Rush with how good that skill is. So that's the GK, and yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a great day.